Hey, I'm back. And you're back if you're watching this. Now, if you just stumbled across this channel, you're going to like what I had to say today. So give me 5 minutes. If you've been part of this journey as we're going through Matthew to hear what Jesus actually says about being one of his disciples, you're going to like what I have to say. So give me the 5 minutes. It'll be worth your time. Now, one of the things about a YouTube channel is you get to see me or you get to see whoever is presenting, but we don't get to see you. You're invisible. You're anonymous. And that's pretty cool, isn't it? You like that when you're on a YouTube channel. But we don't always like to be invisible or to be anonymous. Sometimes we want to be acknowledged. We want to be affirmed. We want people to notice us. And, we want them to notice what we're doing, especially when we pour ourselves out into something to help something function. Or, like think about a shift at work. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And so you just pour yourself into your work for that whole shift and you just give everything you got. You give your best. You'd like that to be acknowledged. You'd like for your supervisor or your boss to recognize that, to say thank you, to say, man, you did awesome. It feels good, doesn't it? And if they don't do that, then, you might be tempted to say, I'm just not going to work so hard the next time. Well, when it comes to spiritual things, we want to be acknowledged sometimes. Now, you might go to a big church where there's thousands and thousands of people, and you like the idea of going there and nobody really has to notice you. You can be invisible. You can be anonymous there. But at some point, especially if you want to invest yourself in that church, you would like to be affirmed. You would like to know that you make a difference. You would like to know that people know you're around. Nobody likes to be gone and come back and find out they were never missed. In the kingdom of God, we need to know how our King sees us. And I want to share that with you. If you look at Matthew chapter 10 and verse 40, Jesus says this to say to the people who want to be his followers. Anyone who welcomes you welcomes me. And anyone who welcomes me welcomes the one who sent me. Whoever welcomes a prophet as a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And whoever welcomes a righteous person as a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. And if anyone gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones who is my disciple, truly I tell you that person will certainly not lose his reward. Now, we may not live in a culture where there's prophets and righteous people that are exalted, but we do live in a culture where spiritual leaders are exalted and lifted up and honored. And, you think about it here in the United States, and maybe even if you live outside the United States, preachers tend to be lifted up and honored. And that's a good thing because they make a lot of sacrifices for people. Good preachers are just tremendous servants of God. And you might even think sometimes, I wish I could do what he does or what she does. She's awesome at this or he's awesome at this. I wish I could do that. What I do doesn't really amount to much. Well, what Jesus wants you to know is that whatever you do for him is important. And he sees it. You're not invisible. He will acknowledge that. That's what he's saying here. In that culture, prophets were big deals and righteous people were big deals. They didn't always get honored the way sometimes they got stoned. But theoretically, they were lifted up and exalted. And there'd be a lot of people say, I wish I could be a prophet. I wish I could be a rabbi. I wish I could be one of the big wheels doing big stuff. We all want to do big things. But what happens if your life as a disciple involves a lot of sacrifice and you feel like you're only doing little things that most people don't notice? Not even people in your church. Maybe what you're doing is you're the person on the block who sees the little kid playing out in the yard on a hot day, and you go out and take them a cup of ice cold lemonade or a bottle of water. Not a big deal in the whole scheme of things, right? Wrong. Jesus says it is a big deal. He says whenever you pour yourself out for him in his kingdom, whether it's something big that everybody notices and acknowledges, or whether it's something small that just seems to fly under the radar, The king sees it. And Jesus says, I'll reward you. I'll reward you. What you did wasn't wasted. And it was important. You should know that. Being a disciple of Jesus, you're not invisible ever to the king. So be blessed with that thought. Now, for the next videos that you're going to see, you're going to have some other people who are going to share with you. And I'll be back with you after that to kind of wind things up with this block of teaching. But thank you for spending time with us. I hope you come back. I hope you bring other people with you. Be blessed.